What are brand archetypes and how can they impact your pitch deck content and design? Let's find out. All right, so let's dive a little bit deeper and look at another tool that can help you communicate your message more clearly. And we're going to take a look at the brand archetype framework. Now, the brand archetype framework is a framework used by many marketers to define and build brand identities. Now, these are different from the dimensions of brand personalities that we looked at earlier in the other video, because the dimensions of brand personalities are more based on how consumers described brands that they were interacting with. And in general, during that study that Jennifer Aker did for the Stanford School of Business, she found out that consumers in general categorize brands under 5 different categories: sincerity, excitement, competence, sophistication, and ruggedness. So that's one way to look at it. Now, another way to look at it is using the archetypes, which are different. Now, these archetypes focus on a common pool of characters that are used in ancient literature and entertainment. And they are also used today in the entertainment industry, in books. So these are kind of more like personalities that interact together to create that story. So chances are, if you're watching a movie or if you're reading a book, some of the characters in the book and the movies are based on these archetypes. And brands use this to their advantage, because when you pick one kind of personality or archetype that you want to represent in the marketplace, you'll find it much easier to communicate, because then you know what kind of personality you stand for and how you want to communicate your message. So the main reasons you would pick an archetype really is for a brand identity. It's going to help you pick a core values and a purpose for your message. So if you know what your character you're playing in the marketplace, that'll help you come up with better values and a purpose for your business and solutions. And it'll also help you tell better stories, because if you know what kind of personality you're coming from, it's going to help you communicate a better problem and opportunity story and create other narratives for your advertising campaign or any other kind of messaging. As well, it's going to help you with your customer relationship. It's going to help you attract the customers that share the same purpose and value as yourself and your business. And of course, it's going to give you that consistency, because if you pick a particular voice, you're going to say, this is the voice that represents my brand or our company. You're going to find it much easier to come up with messaging when you start creating all of these value statements, purpose statements, or any other kind of messaging as well. So really now the big question is, how do your ideas and solutions fit into other people's stories? So another reason why you would pick a brand archetype, because now most of your consumers, they have their own stories. They have their own archetype of where they stand in the business. And now they're looking for people who can come and support them into their own stories. So the reason you would pick an archetype as well is so that you can see how you fit into your customer's story, and so that they can see if they need you. Are you there as the hero? Are you there as the guide? Are you there as any other type of character into their story? So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take you on a quick tour of the 12 different archetypes. So this is not going to be an in-depth look. It's more of a general look so that you can pick one for now and use it as a guide. Of course, you can always change your mind later. Right now, we're just going for speed. We're trying to pick something that's going to help you build that foundation. So as you build your pitch deck, at least you know what kind of position you stand when you're talking to your different audiences. Now, there are 12 different archetypes, and they fall under 4 different categories. The first category is the journey. Now, the journey, these are the archetypes that enjoy the journey to freedom, knowledge, and wisdom. So they're all about the journey, not the end, necessarily the end result or the beginning. It's how do you go through to that journey. So the first one is called Innocent, and Innocent is all about happiness, upbeat personality, and an optimistic outlook on life. So any messages that are optimistic, they're humble, they're honest. Some of the traits, it could be a young brand, it's simple, moral, romantic, loyal, nostalgic. So when you think of brands that follow this Innocent archetype, more like Dove soap, Coca-Cola, open happiness, the ad campaigns, Volkswagen, fun. It's all about nostalgia. So that would be the kind of innocent brand. Now, the next one is the Sage, and this is the Sage archetype is committed to helping the world gain deeper insight and wisdom. So they're all about the truth will set you free, knowledge, assuredness, guiding. So that's why you'd find many brands that are consultant advisors or gurus or teaching or anything to do with knowledge would usually follow that Sage archetype. So you can think of brands like PBS, the Discovery Channel, or even Google is all about sharing knowledge as well. Now, the third archetype in this category is the Explorer, and the Explorer brands are driven by the desire to freedom and independence, and they're not about no restrictions and no boundaries. It's more about exploring rather than sharing knowledge. So it's about discovery, excitement, fulfillment, fearlessness, being daring to just go beyond the boundaries. So the traits would be adventure, independence, exploration, pioneering, doing something new. So you can think of brands in that category like NASA, they're exploring space, Jeep, going off-road, or even National Geographic, where you get to explore different regions of the world that you might not have known about. Now, the next group is called the Legacy, or they're focused on legacy because they're more focused on leaving a legacy behind and making a difference in the market. They want to leave a mark in the marketplace. So the first one in the Legacy group is the Rebel or Outlaw. Now, the Rebel is also known as the Outlaw. It seeks to disrupt their industry and challenge the status quo. So these are brands that are questioning the current situation and they want to find better solutions. So this would be the kind of archetype they would follow. So more about rebelliousness, competitive, disruptive. They're a liberator. They're there to liberate. They're wild, confrontational, independent. They want change. So you can think of brands like Harley Davidson, Virgin, the brand from Richard Branson. The whole brand is about being different and exploring, or even Red Bull drinks would fall under that category. Now, the second one in this category is called the Magician, and this brand archetype is a visionary that wants to dazzle their audience with new and exciting experiences and make their dreams come true. So you'd find it's about mystical, informed, reassuring, transformation, charisma, imaginative. So you'd find brands like Disney would fall under this category, Dyson because they're creating something, new solutions, Polaroid, there's that photos being a magical moment, creating them with the Polaroid picture. So brands like this would fall under the Magician. And then you have the hero, which many people want to be the hero, or they are looking for a hero in their life. And so the hero archetype has a strong sense of right or wrong. They look to make a difference and they seek to overcome injustice and problems. So the hero is there to seek that, solve this problem. So they're usually honest, they're candid, they're brave, they want to improve the world with courage. So you'd find the brands that are courageous, bold, honorable, strong, confident, and inspirational. So you might think something like Nike. You can see the whole Nike brand is about just being the hero and just go do it. BMW, the ultimate driving machine, Adidas, the Royal Marines would fall there. They are there as the hero as well. Now, the third category is all about connections, creating stronger connections and a sense of belonging. So you'll find three archetypes in that category. The first one is the Lover, and it's all about being passionate, intimate, and motivated by desire. So it's sensual, empathetic, it's soothing as well. Some of the traits are they're passionate, committed, romantic, affectionate, indulgent, idealistic as well. So you might find brands like Victoria's Secret, Godiva chocolate, or Chanel, the clothing line. It's all about that sensual and indulgence as well. Now, the second archetype in this category is the Jester, and this one is more about making people laugh and being lighthearted. So if you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. So it's all about having fun, being loving, playful, and optimistic. So the positivity, funny, mischievous. So these would be the traits. So you can think of maybe ads for food would go well into that category. Budweiser beer, Skittles, the candy, they're all about being colorful, colorful and fun. Old Spice, the perfume and the soap ads are fun as well. M&M ads, if you see them with the chocolates, they're always funny and bring humor to the ads. So that would be that kind of category. Now, the third one in the connection is the Everyman. And Everyone is brand is about being unpretentious, reliable, and approachable at the same time. So it's about being friendly, humble, and authentic. They're down to earth, faithful, dependable, realistic, pragmatic, inclusive, and all about equality. So you might find brands that fall into that category more about the home improvements. You'll see it like IKEA, Target, or Home Depot. It's like the being the handy everyman. Now, the last category is about structure, and these three archetypes are more about providing structure and guidance. So you'll find that the first one is the caregiver, and that's driven more by compassion and a desire to help others. So it's all about caring, warm, reassuring, being compassionate, nurturing, warm, generous, and it's all about providing structure but in a warm environment. So you might find UNICEF falls under that, Johnson & Johnson, all the products for the family, creating that caregiving structure. Tom's Shoes as well would fall under that category. So usually you'd find many charities would fall under that caregiving archetype. Now, the second archetype in this structure category is the ruler, and the ruler is dominant personality that desires power and control. They love rules, especially when they are able to set them and adhere to them, expecting others to follow suit. So, if your brand is more about creating structure, about creating rules, more about security, more about technology in that category, then the ruler could be a good fit. So, their brand voice is commanding, refined, articulate. They are leaders, responsible, organized, power. It's about status, wealth, and success. So you might find brands in that category would be Microsoft, Rolls-Royce, the cars, Rolex, Hugo Boss, Mercedes, or Louis Vuitton. They're all leaders in their space, and they're all creating that structure, and they set the tone for how others follow suit. And last but not least is the creator. Now, the creator has a vision and a desire to create an enduring product or experience which realizes their vision. So they're more about creating solutions. So structure through solutions. And the campaign could be Think Different. They're inspiring, they're daring, they're provocative. They're all about originality and expression. Their vision being individualistic and artistic. So you can think of brands like Apple, Lego, Adobe, and Crayola would fall under these categories. Now that you can see the full spectrum of the archetypes and all the 12 different archetypes and the 4 different categories they fit in, can you pick 1, 2, or 3 archetypes that can help you resonate more with your customers? Because really the whole objective of picking an archetype is so that you can see how you can fit into your customer stories or your client's story. Because if your client or your customers, they want to be the hero, then they're not looking for another hero in their life. They're looking maybe for someone to be the guide or someone to be the jester, someone to bring in humor. So what does your customer need, and which one of these archetypes can help you connect more with them so that you can use this archetype to create your messaging? Now, even if you plan to use artificial intelligence, there are now many tools where you can put a prompt and they can come up and help you pick a messaging. So if you put that in the prompt and you can say, come up with a messaging based on that archetype, you're going to find that even AI is going to come up with better terminology for you as well. So whether you plan to do them yourself, your teams hire someone, or if you plan to use AI, if you start putting that prompt saying, focus on this brand dimension and pick this brand archetype, or I'm speaking, my clients want to be the hero, how can I connect with them? Now you'll be able to come up with better messaging to talk to your customers. So before you pick one, can you remember the 3 main reasons why you would pick a brand archetype? Well, I'm going to make it easy here for you, really, because when you pick a brand archetype, it's going to help you with an identity. So it's going to help you select your core values and purpose of how you connect. It's going to help you come up with better stories, whether you do it yourself or you get an AI prompt or someone to help you. And it's going to help you with your relationships, so you can attract people that share your purpose and people who need your archetype to fit into their story as well. So your action item for this video really is to pick 1, 2, or 3 archetypes, anything that you think can resonate with your market. You can experiment. So what could be your primary now could change later on. But for now, we're just going for speed so you can create your first storyboard and your first pitch deck. Now, in my case, I've picked the creator, the ruler, and the sage because I provide different services. So for my design services, I'm more of the creator. I like to create solutions. When I'm doing courses, it's more about the ruler, giving structure to my students and my courses and my workshops. And it's also about the sage because in many cases, when I'm doing consulting, I'm also sharing knowledge with my customers and clients. So it could be a combination. It doesn't have to be one, but if you pick them, you pick the top 3, it's going to help you come up with better messaging. So go ahead and pick your top 3, and I'll see you in the next video. We're going to be talking more about differentiators and words and how you can use all of these as a foundation to come up with the better messaging. See you in the next video.